Hello again and welcome to GPA Distance Learning. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss narrative paragraph. So before we are going to proceed, we are going to use a new clap for today. So this is called a narrative clap. So if I will say, can you give a narrative clap? Then you are going to do like this. 1, 2, 3. Story writing. Let's do it again. Can you give a narrative clap? 1, 2, 3, story writing. That's great. Now let's move here to our big question. For our big questions, we have two. How do I introduce the characters, setting, and problem in a narrative paragraph? And how do I write a narrative paragraph? Now let's move here to our vocabulary word. Narrative. Narrative is a story that you write or tell to someone. Again, it is a story that you write or tell to someone. I have here two books, and then we are going to find out what is the difference of these two books. Yes, the first book is a made-up story. This is not true. How about the second book? The second book is an informative book, and this is a true story. Now, when you say a made-up story, it is called fictional narrative. How about a true story? It is called a non-fictional narrative. Again, made-up story, fictional narrative. When you say true story, it is called non-fictional narrative. Now, let's move here. What is narrative paragraph? Now, a narrative paragraph tells a short story or describes an event. Again, a narrative paragraph tells a short story or describes an event. Now, how are we going to write a narrative paragraph? So first, we are going to do brainstorm. Now, what is brainstorm? When you say brainstorm, you're going to think many or a lot of ideas. So, you're going to put here all the ideas that you think. For example, you wanted to write your own personal experience. So, maybe you can think of your memorable experience or your experience together with your family and friends, or when you travel to a beautiful place, or maybe your experience when you are at school. So, you are going to brainstorm all of these ideas. I have here a brainstorming sheet. We are going to write here all the topics that you wanted to write. For example, for today, you wanted to share your experience about when you are playing soccer during break time together with your friends. Or maybe you wanted to share your experience when you had your birthday party last year. Or maybe when you got a new toy at the store. Or you wanted to share your experience when you visited your grandparents together with your family. Or when you got a new dog. Lastly, when you watch fireworks. So we have already the 6 topics that you wanted to write. But we are going to use only one topic. But for today, you're not going to use visited my grandparents because this is a long time ago. And then you forgot already all the details. And it is very important to remember all the details when you are writing a paragraph. So for today, we are going to write a story about when you got a new dog. So later on, we are going to write a paragraph about this topic. Now let's move here to pre-writing. When you say pre-writing, making a plan of your writing. So first, think about the important things that happen. Again, you're going to think about the important things that happen. So I have here 4 sheets. So remember, you choose already the topic when you got a new dog. So we are going to put here all the important things that happen. So maybe you can write here, first, Mom told me I could get a dog. Then, we went to the store. Next, we choose our new dog. And then last or finally, get dog food and toys. Now, we are going to use all this information later so that we could write a paragraph. Now let's move here to our introduction. First few sentences of your story. Opening or lead or hook the reader. Then how are you going to hook the reader? Using the introduction. So I have here 4. Sound, talking, question, and setting. So first, we are going to use sound so that we can hook the reader. Now, I have here an example. Boom, I heard a loud crash in my house. So, the reader will wonder what will happen to the story or what is happening to the story. Now, let's move here. We can use also talking. Now, I have here an example. Go away, I told my brother. So again, the reader will going to wonder what will happen to the story. Next, question. Have you ever been to Dubai Park? So now you are asking question to your reader, and this is a personal question. Now let's move to the last one. Setting. How are we going to use setting so that you can hook the reader? So remember, setting is where and when the story happened. So I have here an example. One dark stormy night last weekend, I was home alone. So again, you or the reader will going to wonder what will happen to the story. Now we are done with introduction. Now, I think we are ready now to write our introduction about our chosen topic. Remember, we choose your experience about when you got a new dog. So we could write like this. Have you ever felt so happy you could cry? That's how I felt last summer when my mom told me I could get a dog. I had wanted a dog for so long. I couldn't believe I was finally going to get one. So, if you've noticed, I used here question. Have you ever felt so happy you could cry? So this is a personal question. So in your introduction, you can use a question so that you can hook the reader. Now let's move to middle. When you say middle, you're going to write there all the important events that happen. So you're going to use transition words like first, then, next, after, last, and finally. And also, you can put all the details in the middle. So you can use descriptive words and sentences. So now, we wrote already our introduction. So by this time, we are going to write the middle. So we are going to use all this information here. So we will start here in first. First, my mom came to my room to talk to me. She told me since I had gotten good grades at school, I could get a dog. I was so excited. I jumped up in the air. So if you've noticed, I used here first, the transition word first, so that the reader would know that this is the first thing that happened in the story. Now we are done with first. Now let's move here. Then we got in the car to drive to the store. I couldn't wait. I smiled the whole way there. When we pulled up, I saw that the store had a lot of dogs that needed to be adopted. So again, I'm using here on this part the transition word then. So we are done here. Let's move to the next one. So here, next. When we got to the store, I looked at all of the dogs. They were all so cute. All of a sudden, one came up and licked my foot. He was white and fluffy and so adorable. I decided he was the dog for me. So, we are done with this part. Let's move to the last part. So, here, finally, we put him in the car to take him home. He was wagging his tail and sticking his tongue out. On our way home, we stopped to get him some toys, food, and a collar. So, this is the last part of your story, since you are using the transition word finally. So, we are done with our narrative paragraph. So, I think you can write on your own. But remember, you have to use a capital letter at the beginning of each sentences. And you're going to use a capital letter for proper nouns. So you can use this checklist so you can do self-checking. So that ends our lesson for today. So I think you are ready now to write your own narrative paragraph. So enjoy writing.